Hi everyone, this is Tracy from We Craft at Home. Thank you for joining me, and as you notice we are doing like a tower style card today. I'm going to try and describe basically what you need to do for any size you want. I hope it's not too confusing, but I'm going to try and work it out. So these coloured ones are just the layers, and I'll go into them later. Let's just put them to the side. I've done two different sizes, and I'm going to show you both the sizes I've done. I'm working on a 7x7 shape, so what I'm going to do now is try and tell you how to get the right dimensions. So whatever size you want here, plus one of each of these. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. If I get a box, so that square there is the middle plus one of side of each of the columns. That is going to be the size of your square of your card. So as you can see there, actually if I change it to 7x7, okay, so you can see there that that is the size of the card, which is equivalent to the center plus one column each side. The other thing you need to know, I'm going to delete that, is that each of these columns has to be exactly the same size because they fold back and then forwards again. So them three have to be the same size, and from here to here has to add up to the size of the card you're doing. So whether it be a 5x7 or a 6x6, you just got to make sure that the width of the card is the same as from this part to this part. So I'm going to show you different ways to do a 7x7. This is one of them. So this is where the center is 5 inches across and 1 inch on each side of the columns. And then I'm going to show you a different way. This way you can take on one piece of card. The other way does take two pieces, but I personally prefer it. So let's just hide that. Actually, we'll hide them as well, just so that I can start afresh. So you're going to start with a rectangle. Obviously the height is 7, where we're going to untick maintain aspect ratio. The height is 7 because I want a 7x7 card. The width we need for this is 11. And then we're going to take it up to the X and Y. You know I like to use the X and Y. And we're going to need a few score lines. So to do it so that the 5x5 is in the center, we need 3 score lines that are 1, 2 and 3 inches. I know we've got the grid to help us, but always check afterwards with your X and Y. So path tool, click, hold shift and then double click at the other end, and you can see my X says that I am just 2 out, so I'm going to use the keys on the keyboard to move it back to 1. And then we're going to path tool again, and this I've done the same thing, so we're going to move it back to 2. And again, you can always highlight it and just put where you want it to be. And then we're going to grab them all, because we're getting the rectangle as well. If you hold shift and click on there, that takes that away. And then you're going to layer, duplicate and put this so that it starts at 8, and then the rest should be in the right place. It's grabbing hold of it now. So that's at 9 and that one's at 10. So then if we select it all again, hold shift and click the card so it doesn't include that, and change it all to score lines. And there we have it. So they're the folds we need, and now we need to make some cut lines across. So again, we need the tool, and we're going to start, we want it to be 1/2 inch down, so that's the Y, and starting at 1 because we're starting at the first score line, which is at 1. And there we go. And then we just need to duplicate that and put it so that it's at 1 again, but this time on the 1 on the Y. And we're going to keep doing that. So if we go down like this, again, hold shift and click on the card, duplicate, and this one we want to be, they all need to be at 1, but this one we need at 1.5 so that we know it's in the right place. I'm just trying to make my job simpler here, so we haven't got to do every single one. We're now going to duplicate all 4, and again we need it at 1, but this one we need at 2.5. I don't know if I'm doing too many, probably doing too many lines now, but we will duplicate that. And actually we can just go over to the X. We know that's at 1. I think we're on 4.5 now. If we just do the lines that I've done too many of, take away the card again and delete. We've now got all our lines on that side. So now what I'm going to do is grab them all again, hold shift, take away the card, and then layer, duplicate. And this one, if you go over to your X, you want it on the 8, and we want it to start on the 0.5, so it's equal to the other one. And there you have it. That is already ready to go. So that's the first way of doing the card. If you saw the pictures, this is the one with the indigo blue lady on. So if you want layers, this one, because we know it's 5 by 7, you always minus a 1/4 inch for a layer. So that would make the width 4.75 and the height 6.75. And then if we duplicate that and we just make the width, because the height is the same for these, so we'll just make the width 0.75 because each of these are an inch, so this one has to be 3/4. And then duplicate that one for the next one, like that. And then duplicate again. And this one we want the height. I'm going to try 0.4. I think doing 3/4 is probably, doing 1/4 inch is probably too much. We could do that a bit bigger as well. Let's try 85. It's only because it's smaller and we need to fill up. There we go. I think that's quite, yeah, that's about right. So then you want every other one for both sides. So if we duplicate like that, and then because one's coming forward and one's going back, you only want every other strip. So if we duplicate that, we know that goes there like that, like that, and then you want to double that because you need the same for that side, and then that will go over that side. But what we'll do is just put them all together, and there we go. So that's your layers for here, and then you've got your layers for there. So that is that one. And don't forget, if you don't feel comfortable trying it out for yourself, the files are always ready waiting. So now the other one, that looks more like this because I wanted longer strips, but to get wider strips you have to cut it out of 2 pieces of card. So I've done it so that it's 4 in the middle, and then each strip is 1.5. So 4 and 1.5 and 1.5 makes 7. So it's, again, you still got to make sure that one strip either side plus the center adds up to the size of the card you want. So I am going to now hide that so that I can show you how I've done it. So again, a square. Let's go to the edit page. This one has to be, we know the height is 7 again, 8.5. Again, up on the X and Y, and this time I want the score lines 1.5 apart. Okay, so there's the 3 score lines. We'll change them to score lines so we know what they are. And then we just need to do our cuts again. We'll do them the same half. If you don't want to do 1/2 inch apart, you only want to do like 1 inch, you could, but you're not going to get much of too many folds. That notice you're only going to get like 3. So that's why I do it at 1/2 inch. So we know it needs to start on the 1.5, and the Y has to be on 50, so let's just change that. So now it's on 1.5 and 1/2. If we duplicate, that one needs to be on 1.5 and 1. So now we've got our lines in place. And that's it. Again, you do the layers. This one is, the width is 375. The height again is 675. And that's the middle layer. So you lose space in the middle, but you get an extra little bit of lines on the side, which I actually preferred. I think that came out better. So if we duplicate that, we know we want this one. So if they're 1.5, we need 1.25. Height stays the same, and there's the center. And then we'll just duplicate that to get the right size here. So I'm going to go up to 4 on there, and the height, what did we say? Oh, we said 4 again. Let's have a look. No, width, oh, that's because that should be 0.4. I think that would suit better. Yeah, so you do the same thing. You're only doing alternate ones, although you could do all of them because the other alternate ones will go on the other side. And you need 2 of every other thing here, not the middle. You only need 1 of the middle. You need 2 of the cards, 2 of them, 1 of them just for the center, and then all of them again. So that is basically it. I will be doing both. I'll let you decide what you want to do. I hope I've helped with sizing it right so that you can do your own. If not, these ones will be available on my Facebook group page as always, free to download. Okay, I will see you over at the craft table. Okay, so I'm over at the craft table. Let's just put that to the side a minute. So this is the second one I showed you, where you need 2 bits of card. And you're going to cut them both out like that and then turn it around. And you want to make sure, so you've got the card like that, you want to make sure both sides are doing the same thing. And the way I work it out is that I want the bottom one out because it makes it a bit more firm. So that's how I done it. So you do 1 mountain, 1 valley, mountain, valley, and keep going on like that. So you can see you get like a little box. And that's how you fold it. And then this one, these are to allow the folds on these. So you're going to do mountain every other one, and this one, you're going to do these as valley. So mountain on the other ones there, valley there. And that is what you end up with. And now you see what I mean when I say, we'll stick it together in a minute, that once it's folded, the width of the card is the centre plus the first two columns. So that is the width of the card. Whatever size you do, that's all you got to make sure. And then whatever length this is, you've also got to do that the same for the other two columns. Because it's folding back on itself and coming out again, you don't want it going any further than this one here. So that's how that works. So if we just start off by gluing together, I will show you. I have already done the other card. I'll show you what I've done, just so you can see the difference. Okay. So you're lining that up at the top and the bottom just to make sure that it is together properly. And there we go. So that is the shape of the card. See, I like it better with the strips just a little bit longer. They're not much longer, but like I said, that does mean you need to use two cards. So the next thing, I've gone all indigo blue on this set, just to let you know, because I've done a bit of stamping and everything. But the first thing you need to do is the strips, and I didn't want to stamp for the strips. So what I've done, I've kept them on the page just so that I can specifically show you something. Let's get them the right way round. I used an indigo blue paper called Abstract because it was the same colours as what I wanted for this. Now what I'm going to do, I'll fast forward the rest of it. You only need to do the pieces that are up. You don't want to waste your paper. Well, you can if you like, but you don't want to waste your paper on the bits that go down, because they're not really going to be seen. So it's just the ones that come up. So if you put your glue straight on, you could do a couple at a time. Now this is how I do this, okay? Because to make sure that the pattern is fairly even across both, if you take the first one and stick it down, I sprayed it with a bit of gold so it would match the thing that goes in the middle, because I've done that myself. Now I'm going to miss one and take the next one, because what I'll do is use the missed one over on that side, just so that they're very similar. So if I show you, that missed one now can go over this side, and that way the pattern is evenly spaced out. You obviously don't have to do it like that, it's just my preferred choice. So now I will do that quickly. Okay, so that is the sides done. There we go. Like I said, it was just it's an indigo blue paper called Abstract, and I just sprayed a bit of mica gold spray on it so that it would go with what I've done. So the next step, I just wanted to show you what I was doing in case none of you had tried it out. You don't have to see all of it, but I've already inked, and you can see I've used the gold spray on there, and I used some of the indigo blue inks and then sprayed with water and made a nice background like that. I used an indigo blue stamp. I love this stamp. It is a very old one. I'm sure they've still got it though. I'll show you it. It's this one. It's in the wrong packaging, but so it's this one. Enjoy Life, it's called. I have a thing for sentiments, so, but this I've had for years and years, probably about 10 years actually, if not more. I love indigo blue stamps because, as you can see, they're red rubber, so they work so much better than an average stamp. You can do a lot, you can get a lot messier with these, you can do a lot more with it, so I do like using them. Now, the stamp I'm going to use now, I'm going to flake with. I just want a bit of flake up the sides of each panel, and let's get the package I used. It was a set from a while ago. Floors 3. So I'm just using this sort of wiggly lining, but I love it. So if none of you have tried it, this is why I wanted to do it on camera. And I'm just going to say my indigo blue glue is probably about 5 years old now, and it is still just as perfect as when I bought it. So if you get a foam pad, fat foam, and then okay, I've lost my spatula, so I'll use this. All you're going to do is work it into the foam. Just keep going, working it in until it's disappeared. And then you're going to use this like a stamp pad. So if I'll tell you what, if I work on this, no, I work on the sides. So it's going to be like that in the middle, and then one each side, like that. So I need to just stamp, like I said, like you would a normal stamp pad. I'm using their, this is going to be easier than using a stamp tool, because I don't want the whole thing doing. So then I'm going to do it again. The thing about this glue, I don't know if you can see it. The thing about this glue is that it never goes dry. So I'm just going to put a second layer on. So I could leave that now for a week, come back to it, and it will still work. I'm just going to move it away from where I was gluing. Okay, so I'm just going to grab some bits of flake. This is an indigo blue flake. I just love the multicolours of it. So I'm just going to make sure it goes all over where I want it. And once you know it's gone on all the glue that you've put on there, you can then put what's left over back in the thing, and then you use a scoochie and just rub off the excess. There we go. So it takes off any excess flake that shouldn't be there and just leaves it where it should be. I'm hoping you can see this. There you go. So you can see where the flake is. All along. And it comes out perfectly. So I'm going to do that, and then if you're doing this, do make sure that you have a tub of water nearby, because that will need to go straight in the water once I'm done. So you can just watch me while I do the rest, because I'm doing the same again. Okay, forgive my messy hands, but you know, I think the outcome is favourable. Oh, missed a large chunk there. So what was left on the mat will eventually go back in the pot, but I just, you know, I'll finish this first. So you can see now I've flaked the edges with nice stamping. Like that. I love it, I do. I think it's a beautiful effect. The flake I used was called Chocolate Box. I've got a feeling she doesn't do it anymore. Again, it is one I've had for years. So, and I'll put my stamp straight in the water once I finished, and the fat foam. So then all I'm going to do is stick them on. They're a mess. You would take more time clearing up, I hope. The glue for, it's called, I'll show you in a minute, hold on. I've had mine for years. I've got one that's 10 years old and it still works. I just used this one because it was a bigger pot to get the glue out of for the foam. But there, it's called Flitter Glue, and it's honestly the strongest, best glue you could use, especially for this. I keep it just for this because, well, you know, I love my bookbinding glue anyway. But the Flitter Glue is more like stencil glue from Pinflair. You can use that for flaking as well. It'll work just as well. And it's equally as strong. So I'm going to do it so that the flaking is on the outside, on each side. This really just was watercolour card playing around with inks. I didn't do anything special. I just plonked a few of the ink and then sprayed it with water. You should spray it with water first, then plonk the inks and then spray a bit more water. That's the mistake I did make. I forgot to spray it first. But I'm still happy with the result, to be honest. I'll leave a link to the Indigo Blue website if you want to take a look, because their stuff is outstanding. The stamps are really the best stamps to use. They really are. So that is the finished 7x7 card. Just a nice little sentiment on the front, and that's how it pops out. So I do love these cards. They're simple but effective, I guess is the right word. I've just coloured all my nails with glue. The other one I've already done. I've also used indigo blue. So the centre one, I've just used inks, and I don't know if you can see, I used a stencil on it as well, just to give it a bit of a rough feel. These are indigo blue stamps that I've just literally coloured, and the papers are indigo blue as well. It came with the same, yeah, it came with the set of the lady. It's like a steampunk set. But that is the difference of the two. So you can see this is a narrower in the centre, but you get longer lines, whereas them are very short lines, but you've got a lot more space in the centre to work with. And both of them, you can do your sentiment on the back, on both, and it's fine. But that's the two different ways of doing it. I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. I love messing around. I don't do it often on camera, but give it a go, because it's only paper and you can have fun. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.